Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for NCAA Division III Hoops as the visiting Cardinals of North Central College are here in the cold north of Kenosha, Wisconsin, off the lakefront of Lake Michigan, taking on the Firebirds of Carthage College. Hello, everybody. Alongside Eric Elger, I'm Peter Ferreri. A pivotal conference matchup in the CCIW. Eric, no other way to put it, this is a huge game for both teams.
Yeah, let's take a win against Milliken to get them up in the top three of the conference. And North Central kind of hanging around there in the middle. They've had some very close games, coming off a close loss where they pushed Illinois Wesleyan, the 7th-ranked team in the country. They pushed them to triple overtime. And there we have some of the stats from last game. And it, as I said, it was a close game. It took after starting 13-0, North Central was losing to start the game, shooting 0 of 9 from the field goal range. They were able to heat up as the game went on and to force a first overtime to close out on a 10-2 run. So they came up short, but they're looking to get some revenge here tonight against the Firebirds, who won both games last year against the Cardinals.
Looking as well where these teams have come, it was a 37-34 first half lead the last time these two teams met. Carthage then kept the lead 36-33 with the 73-67 overall. Now North Central does have better overall numbers in the all-time history with 19 wins to the 12 for Carthage. Let's look at where things sit in the season, and I think this is important yet again, Eric. 4th overall in points. That is with Brooks, their leading scorer, having 0 points this weekend, and second in opponents' points. The defense still stands tall.
Yeah, it took a little different type of game for Carthage to come out on top against Milliken. As Coach Jurkovic talked about, the way Milliken plays defense, they're just so sound, and it's tough. They really don't have ways that you get beat by them. You have to force and kind of get your, be patient and get your points where they can. And Carthage, led by the leading trio of A.J. Johnson, Ryan Johnson, and Griffin Dawn, scoring all but 10 points in that last contest. And so Carthage really had to lean on their defense last game to come out on top.
Yeah, when you look on the flip side now for the Cardinals of North Central, they're a little bit better in the points category. Defense doesn't stack up as tall, but here's a big one, turnover margin. They're 3rd in the conference, and so they may try to force the hand of the Firebirds to maybe to get in some positions they don't feel comfortable in.
Yeah, they are aggressive on the defensive end. They're led by senior Terrence Moncrief, who's actually 5th in the CCIW with 1.7 steals per game. And Terrence Moncrief, a pivotal player for this team, lead has 5th in CCIW with 3 assists per game, 6th in field goal percentage in the conference, and also chips in 4.4 rebounds. So you take a look at some of those stats in the CCIW, and really North Central has played many close games, lost a couple tight ones, as I mentioned, against Illinois Wesleyan last week, but also lost by just a few points to Milliken, that same team that Carthage beat. They lost by 6 there. So a tough team, and really every team tough in the CCIW.
Yeah, North Central, of course, coming off a loss, and they're also 5-4 away from home, so not as much of the road warriors as they'd like to see in a given season. But again, looking at the recent games, Wheaton College, a fairly convincing win, 86-48, triple overtime against number 7 Illinois Wesleyan. So regardless of the situation as to what the opponents are, Illinois Wesleyan is one of the best teams in the conference, as is Carthage. So North Central taking Illinois Wesleyan to triple overtime can really set the tone, set the stage for how tough of a challenge Carthage is going to have today. When we spoke in the postgame show with Coach Steve Jurkovic this past weekend, he said nothing gets easier. Any team can be the best team in the conference, and every night. We almost saw it this weekend, and we'll see what happens here. Again, once again, for Eric Elger, I'm Peter Ferreri. We're going to turn it over to Justin Corrigan momentarily, the PA announcer for the national anthem, and starting lineups. CCIW midweek battle. We appreciate you being with us, and we appreciate you being here on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Handing it over to Justin.
Good evening, student athletes, coaches, staff, and fans, and welcome draped over the coffin of Captain Frank Brethren, a former Carthage student who died in Vietnam in 1970. The flag is a gift to the college from his parents. In remembering Captain Brethren, we pay tribute to all who have sacrificed their lives for our country and honor those who today put themselves in harm's way in service to America. At this time, we ask you to please rise if able and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem by the Carthage College Pep Band.
And welcome in. It's the Battle of the Birds. Let's start with the starting lineup for the visiting Cardinals of North Central, Hellwig Moncrief, along with Malloy Alejandro Diaz, and finally, number 20, one of the best scorers on the team, that is going to be Tyler Swierczek. As for the home birds in the Battle of the Birds, A.J. Williams, Ryan Johnson, Riley Brooks, A.J. Johnson, and the spark plug, Griffin Dawn. So Carthage going to be wearing their home grays, red numbers and letters, black trim. The visiting Cardinals wearing more of a darker cardinal red with white numbers and letters, black trim. And let's talk about some keys to the action. Eric, if you are North Central, again, a tough triple overtime loss against Illinois Wesleyan, what do you have to redo to regroup and come away and steal one here in Kenosha?
Well, I mean, when you play such a close game and tough game and against one of the best teams in the country, sometimes you just come up short. And really, they are a team that likes to spread it around. They kind of score by committee. Last game against Illinois Wesleyan, they had 6 different players in double digits. Hellwig, Bullock Jr., and Swierczek tied at 14 points a game. So I would say North Central continue to pass the ball around, kind of see where the hot hand is. And on the defensive end, we all know the tandem that the Cardinals are going to have to stop with AJ and Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson, the leading rebounder in the CCIW. So can they keep him off the boards? Can they limit the offensive rebounds? And if they can do that and continue to play sound team basketball, they'll be a handful for the Firebirds today.
On the flip side for the Firebirds, again, I think you bring up a really good point. 3 Firebirds alone, 3 Firebirds did all the scoring, I should say most of the scoring. That's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing because it shows that 3 players can handle the situation. The third official is here, so we appreciate all the officials being here this evening. About 18 minutes after the bell, but we're okay. We're here, everybody's safe. That's the most important thing. And so we're about to get started here at Tarble Arena. But again, besides the situation we say in jest, the Firebirds know that if you get any production from anybody besides those 3, okay, you're just adding on to what you saw from the big 3.
Yeah, someone like A.J. Williams can take a big role of scoring and knock down some threes himself. And obviously, too, Riley Brooks, scoreless last game. You got to believe he's going to get a bucket tonight.
And we already have a whistle. I believe the shot clock didn't start.
So after
okay,
a delay,
now it's running.
After a delay, we got another slight delay, but we'll get this game off and running here shortly.
Okay, so there was a tip-off, and now the clock is running and the shot clock is running. I don't know why it would be. Folks, we're just gonna keep talking for now and pretend like we know what's going on. It's a Wednesday, right? It's January. It's not a Friday the 13th or anything of those lines. So there's now 6 seconds on the shot clock with, again, we're saying all of this in jest, but how was your day, Eric?
Hey, yeah, I mean, I was getting a little nervous when the third ref wasn't here. Thought I was going to have to throw the stripes on and ref down there, and yeah, I don't know if Coach Jurkovic would like many of my calls. I was a ref for 1 year in high school, and I heard a little bit about how most of the coaches thought I was as a ref, and that was a one and done situation. And I'm glad to be up here, not in the
not in the thick of things.
Yeah.
I recall back. Gosh, it's 2025 now. I forget how old I've gotten. Back in 2010, I was play-by-play for the state all-star game for Illinois volleyball. Okay, so Illinois volleyball all-star game. It's a cool thing. And mind you, there's nothing to win or lose. It is a exhibition. It is an all-star game. And I just recall, the officials, they volunteered their time. It wasn't a paid gig for anybody. It was just a nice exhibition. And one of the coaches just was laying in to one of the officials, and he's like, I'm volunteering to be here. It's an exhibition. It sounds like Rocky IV. It's an exhibition. But the So just to keep everybody afloat, the entire scoreboard is off now in the stadium. Why don't we take a minute? Let's look ahead just so everybody knows what's in store after today. So the Firebirds head out of town to take on Wheaton College this Saturday. So you and I are going to be here for a weekend. It's like the first weekend in a long time. I don't know what I'm to do with myself. And then next Wednesday, they're back here at Tarble as the Pios, another conference rival. Thank you for that to the crew for showing that one. That's Wednesday, January 22nd, so the next home game for the men's squad. After that, see, that should have been, we showed the cheer team now. They should just be on the court, doing their thing right now. It's much more appealing. Or those two guys that do like the hand jive.
Yeah.
To Sandstorm.
He's going up there in the band. He's up there doing his thing.
Oh, we have.
We got to get his name.
We got some step touches happening. Remind me next time out. I might have an in for that situation. Our PA announcer, Justice. Okay, let's look at the other upcoming schedule for what's happening here. Thursday, January the 16th. That is tomorrow. Women's and men's wrestling, the back-to-back, 6 and 7 o'clock respectively. Wednesday, January the 22nd is again men's basketball back, and then another doubleheader coming your way Saturday, January the 25th. That is women's basketball versus Augustana and men's basketball versus Augustana. You'll be here for that, right, Eric? That'll be, and then the play-by-play announcer for that one will be, other great announcer Chris Labasco filling in for that doubleheader. So that's what'll get you through the winter woes and the cold chill of Kenosha air. Naperville getting just about the same weather this time, but officials back out on the court. As for North Central, after today, they head south of here, east of Naperville to take on North Park University this Saturday. The next Saturday, so they have a full week off. They'll be hosting Elmhurst. So their first home game in quite a while. The last time they were home, Jan 8th. Then it'll be the 25th, and then all the way back to February. And I think we've won the stalling game. I was about to start reading off horoscopes and, the CCIW overall score. We will do an out-of-town scoreboard for today, but we're back. We appreciate you being with us. We have officials, we have a shot clock, we have a scoreboard, we have a ball game. Do we have a point? We do not. So Brooks couldn't find the first bucket. His right hand not taped this game, so not sure if that was maybe impeding his shot a bit the last contest. Again, the leading scorer leading into this past weekend's game held scoreless against the Big Blue of Milliken. Backing in, getting contact, floater with the right hand, no good. Brooks coming away with the rebound.
Something Coach Jurkovic talked about as one of their points on the whiteboard in the locker room was shooting with confidence, and you got to believe Coach giving Riley Brooks a little pep talk. See what he can do tonight.
Griffin Dawn drives. Defender backs away, floats up the right hand, back iron, no good. On the right wing now. Looking for some spacing. Trying to get positioning underneath the basket is Hellwig. Let's see if they can get him top of the key now. He decides to set the screen. Driving in the spin, the pump fake underneath the basket. All 5 defenders against 1. Open for 3. Good. Alejandro Diaz out of Bensonville, Illinois, drives the trifecta home to get the first bucket of the game.
Yeah, the freshman playing some big minutes for North Central and not shooting such a high percentage from 3, but knocks down his first shot of the night, only shooting 26% from the three-point line.
And Brooks breaks the scoreless streak of a game and, a minute 50. Is able to come away with it, and that's one thing he didn't necessarily do last game, because once the cold streak started, they just let him take those deep threes. This time drives the lane, shows his presence in the paint. Carthage within 1.
Yeah, that's a lot of what Milliken does defensively. We saw that they ranked pretty high on the defensive end, and they're just really sound and don't give a lot of penetration looks, and so Carthage had to rely on other ways to get open shots.
Diaz looks for the fadeaway spin shot, hits the iron, no good, out of play. Trying to plead his case was Ethan Hellwig. He didn't get the call. Carthage ball.
Yeah, keep an eye on that rebounding battle between Ethan Hellwig and Ryan Johnson. Hellwig fourth in the conference, and as I mentioned, Ryan Johnson first. So two big boys battling down low.
Dawn up strong. He is just the little kid in the playground who does it all. So fun to watch. Again, the turnover from last season to this season. Firebirds not effective, or not affected by who is or isn't on the court. The Steve Jarakovic plan continues to work. Firebirds lead. Johnson thought about it. The reigning conference player of the week, Johnson. So congrats to him, all those accolades all over social media.
Yeah, Carthage really likes to run pick and roll off of him, and it has been a huge source of offense for the Firebirds.
Dawn fadeaway jumper, wasn't a pretty shot. Cardinals forcing a bad one.
It's the third time Griffin Dawn has got to that exact spot already tonight.
Three-pointer, quick go, no go of it. Swierczak, he's one of the best scorers for the Cardinals. One basket thus far today, a three-pointer from Diaz. The fadeaway, Brooks, left rim, no good. Shooters are gonna shoot, so if you're a Firebirds fan, you wanna see Brooks keep taking those shots, because once they start falling, he's a lights-out shooter when it's happening. Nice screen at the top, nothing but the bottom of the net. For the big man, the 6'5" guard of Ethan Hellwig, out of Matea Valley, the Merrimack College transfer.
Yeah, Hellwig likes to launch up some threes. He shot over almost 93s, over 93s so far this season, so shooting at about a 33% clip.
Rolls around and good. So Brooks, 4 out of the 6 points the Firebirds have are by way of the right hand of Brooks.
Right now, Carthage only has 2 guys that have taken a shot. It's been Dawn and Brooks taking all the attempts.
Diaz against Williams, backing down. Smooth stroke by Diaz. I like his follow through.
Yeah, you can see why North Central has loved what they've seen out of the freshman and has played, as I said, a ton of minutes, and just seems like his role continues to grow as the season progresses.
Chris pass, Dawn Johnson bucket, tied again at 8.
There you go. You expect one of the Johnson boys to get a shot up here in the first half sooner or later, and nice look, nice feed by Griffin Dawn.
Pump fake, turnaround floater, left hand, and good. Jarakovic not happy.
That was Griffin Dawn knocking it out. Did you see that? Knocking from the body, just
yeah.
Didn't want to see that go through, so just knocked it back up out of the hoop.
So Nemanja Stojic now coming in. Griffin Dawn takes the bench. So here's a unique lineup. 2 bigs, and by 2 bigs, the 2 biggest for the Firebirds now in at the same time. So usually Nemanja Stojic comes in to be the, breather for Ryan Johnson, but Stojic just more playing time after more playing time. Gets it in and layup with the right hand, and that's why they bring him in.
What a feed there by A.J. Williams there, too. And, yeah, Nemi coming in early off the game. I wonder if there's a matchup that Coach Jurkovic can like seeing.
Nice pickup by Brooks. Stojic was the 4th man off the bench for the Bigs last year. Brooks went from way beyond the arc, couldn't find it. But Stojic now arguably the 6th man for the Firebirds. Rolls around, Williams with the rebound. Foul going to be called. Swiping in is Terrence Moncrief.
Yeah, Moncrief, one of those guys that has active hands, and as I mentioned, 1.7 steals, almost 2 steals a game. So if you see number 10 in the Cardinal red around you, you got to take care of the basketball, because he's always looking to swipe it.
I always appreciate this matchup because I get to say, the Battle of the Redbirds.
Yeah, I would say like it's funny how like cardinal red doesn't really match like the color of what you think of a cardinal is. you
Yeah.
know? Like when you say the bird of cardinals, a more brighter red, and I don't know. So just interesting that cardinal red, not really looking like a cardinal.
Passing down low, under 10 to Stojic. Picked up the dribble, looking for somewhere to go with it. Johnson off balance, didn't matter, hand in his face. Basket nonetheless, trifecta for A.J. Johnson. Birds up by 3, Firebirds up by 3. I have to delineate between the birds. You get in a habit of birds. It's like, you get Pirates versus the Buccaneers. Well, you got to switch things up.
Yeah, A.J. Johnson able to get that 3 off as the shot clock was winding down, and Carthage always looks for number 15 when they need to get out of a tough spot.
Coach Jerichovic on the sideline saying, hey, hands up in that situation. If you're Nemi, Stojic, you're one of the tallest players on the court. Don't necessarily need to lean the arms in. But again, coachable moment. Some subs coming in for both teams respectively momentarily. Rims out, no good. So a miss by number 22, James Bullock, who's an .857 free throw shooter. So a rare miss for Bullock. That second one is good. Subbing in for the Firebirds, number 20, the junior Garrett Arnold, who's starting to see his playing time increase.
Yeah, Garrett Arnold, one of those guys off the bench that Coach Jerichovic knows that he can take care of the ball and is where he needs to be on the defensive end as well.
Brooks playing tough defense. Subbing in for the Cardinals was Tyler DeSilvio out of Dundee Crown. The pump fake, nowhere to go. Offensive foul. Ethan Hellwig lowered the shoulder. North Central and Vince Kmiec not happy about it.
Yeah, Hellwig liked the matchup he had against A.J. Johnson there, and you can tell he was really had the eye of the tiger, was going to work and just a little too aggressive offensively. And how about that, A.J. Johnson picking up the offensive foul.
Quick pass to Nemi. Flick out. Johnson, the big man, rims out. No good. Over the back, going to be called on a Stojic as he made contact. Oh. And a right hand extension by number 22, James Bullock.
Now, I would say most of the games in the CCIW, there's a lot of rivalry matchups, and this is one of the top ones, I would say, for the Firebirds, as the last time we were here at Tarble, there were some technical fouls called. Carthage ended up with 8 consecutive free throws in one possession, something you don't see very often, and A.J. Johnson knocked down all 8, and that's really what led to the closeout victory last time the Cardinals visited Kenosha.
Offensive board by Diaz. So Stojic is subbed out of the game. Smaller lineup, Colton Sigel, one of the assassins. Right hand hook and good by Bullock. So Bullock down on the number chart, averaging 6 a game. He's already up to 3 with the free throw and that bucket. So Bullock's stepping up early in this contest. Arnold drives, layup with the left hand, point blank miss. Looking for contact, and they're going to call it off of Johnson. Coach Jerichovic saying, where was it? Because Johnson didn't even raise the hands. So both coaches challenging the officials so far to see where the contact was.
I mentioned how I didn't enjoy being a ref, right? This is already both coaches vying for every call, trying to get, a little word of advice to the ref. And Drew Gaston, the senior, getting to the line by just being aggressive and going right into the chest of Ryan Johnson.
Shot up and good. 15-13 your score. Handoff at the top of the key. Behind the back. Throwing it up is Johnson. Is it going to count as a shot attempt? And it is. So things really starting to get physical in the last 60 seconds or so here at Tarble Arena.
Yeah, the CCIW always physical, and I actually talked to some of the refs coming out of the game a couple weeks ago, and they said, hey, I think you guys did a nice job. It seems like a tough job. It's physical, and they're like, it's always physical. This game appears to be no different, so the refs, have a job to do, try to keep it even and try to keep the game under management and not get too, you don't want to get it too physical. And so they already calling a couple fouls here to see if they can guide to a clean, fair contest. And CCIW refs some of the best in Division III.
Johnson, a 900 shooter from the free throw line, so not surprised that he made that.
Gaston just crashing the boards there.
Yeah.
Playing it right off the backboard and gets the bucket here. So this has already got the look of a game that's going to stay tight. Just doesn't seem there's going to be a lot separating these two teams already. And 9 minutes into the game and just a 2-point lead for the Cardinals.
Well, one thing I was going to mention, and again, 17-15 your score for Eric Elger. I'm Peter Ferreri. We appreciate you being with us this Wednesday evening in January. But the comment I wanted to make, Eric, was, not to say throw the records away, but really it's a situation where this past weekend, if you look at the final box score, okay, Carthage won. They were trailing most of the game and then had a nice little run at the end. And so it's not a Carthage team that has been dominating conference play so far, but they've done what they've needed to do to win, and I think that speaks volumes for kind of the synopsis for the team.
Yeah, in the post game with Coach Jurkovic, he mentioned how Riley Brooks came to the locker room and said, hey, I've been on teams. I don't think we would come back and win that game.
Yep. Good memory.
And as Don takes it to the basket, and so, yeah, Carthage just seems to be just a couple guys getting a little more seasoning. Griffin Dawn's been here a couple years. You got guys, leaders like Sigel, and that team just shows no panic, and they were able to come back from an 11-point lead with about just 10 minutes left to go in the game.
Fadeaway Bullock, back iron, no good. Another offensive opportunity, bang! The long-range assassin shooting, Ethan Helwig. Again, one thing that North Central has is they have smooth shooters, as that is Helwig's second three ball of the afternoon, or evening, I should say. I'm used to saying afternoon with you and I on Saturdays, but in the evening now, Helwig, 6 points, and that's going to come from 2 for 4 from three-point land.
Yeah, he likes to launch those threes. He's right up there with Riley Brooks, shooting over 93s on both each team, and he's shooting at, like I mentioned, 33%, but he is one of those CCIW players that just has a mountain of experience. He was second all CCIW last season, and someone who is familiar with the ins and outs of Carthage and this conference, and one of the better players to come out of North Central in the last 2 years.
Almost a steal/foul by Drew Gaston, who checked into the game. Driving in, Dawn right hand. Coach Jarakovic thought there might have been some contact on that, but nonetheless, Firebirds within one.
And Dawn keeping it going, this offensive output from last game, and he has been really aggressive early here, and he's got some good looks near the basket and has cashed in a couple times here already.
Floater right hand rolls in good, soft touch by Svirchek. North Central back up by 3.
Svirchek, one of the guys that does most of his damage from behind the arc, but they're just posting up Dawn, just backing him down and out muscling him there.
10 on the shot clock for the Firebirds. Williams gets the screen, looks for a three, and nails it. A.J. Williams, you mentioned him earlier in the game, a player you'd like to see step up. Nice three ball there off the screen.
Smart decision there from A.J. Williams. They were really dropping back, worried about Ryan Johnson cutting to the basket, and A.J. saw his opportunity and takes it.
Ryan Johnson, nope. Yes, Ryan Johnson going to get called for the reach-in foul. That is his second foul with 8:47 remaining until half.
Colton Sigel trying to take command of that foul, saying, it was me, I was reaching in. Don't throw it on big number 10 here.
And here comes in some subs. Brooks and Stojic about to come back into the game. You never want to say, what player can you ill afford to have foul trouble? But for Carthage and the way their depth shifted from deeper at the 4 and 5 to now deeper at the 1, 2, and 3, that player's name is Ryan Johnson. Oh, the no look inside. Baseline wide open.
Miscommunication there, and someone just didn't pick him up down low.
The full court pressure for the Cardinals causing fits, losing the handle. They're going to say went off a foot of one of the players. So A.J. Johnson now about to sub back in, and a player, as we still see Sigel in the game, but a player that we haven't seen a lot of lately, Tanner Lamb, so always another player potentially off the bench for the Firebirds. That can, knock you down those 1 or 2 crucial threes.
Yeah, definitely lethal from the three-point line, and someone that Carthage likes to turn to when they need a little instant offense.
On the ground, taking away Brooks. Johnson kicks out to Williams. 2-3 zone for the Cardinals. Stojic. A.J. Johnson! Trifecta for the phenomenal one, A.J. Johnson. Carthage with the lead.
I think that surprised Drew Gaston a little bit. He thought he had him covered out there, but A.J. sees a bit of daylight and lets it fly, knocks it down.
Getting the screen, trying to answer back, not able to do so. Brooks with the rebound. Chance for the Firebirds to extend their lead. Brooks, foul going to be on the ground. And with 7:35 remaining, first foul of the evening going to be called against Alejandro Diaz. But again, just to go back to the conversation point of who can you ill afford, it's, Ryan Johnson and Stojic. Those are your two bigs.
I agree, because the scoring load can kind of switch over from Ryan to AJ when Ryan leaves the floor, but it's hard for AJ Johnson to replicate the length, the height, and the rebounding of his younger brother.
Swierczek called for the foul. That was a pretty obvious one. Pushed off when they were trying to inbound it for Stojic. The switch off there. A.J. Johnson thought about pulling the quick trigger. Puts it to the ground. The pump fake. Swatted away. No foul. That one pulled away. Sigel thought it went off of the Cardinal player knee. That was Drew Gaston.
Nice job by Sigel there. How many times do you see that player foul the shooter, give him 2 free throws, and Sigel staying straight up and able to knock the ball away, stop the drive.
Another offensive rebound for the Cardinals. Leads to a layup and a North Central lead. That is multiple offensive rebounds now for North Central on key possessions.
5-0 right now. North Central leading offensive rebounding.
Brooks, fadeaway, airs it. As Griffin Dawn about to come in now for Colton Sigel.
I think Coach Jurkovic there kind of talking to Riley Brooks a little bit, gave him a little hey, let's work the offense a little bit there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a shot that I think Riley Brooks can almost get at any time. And sometimes you'd like to get the defense to work a little bit, move them around. But so I think that's all Coach Jurkovic was saying. It's hey, we got that shot for you, but let's try to get everyone involved before we get there.
Screen at the top. Dawn one-on-one. Looking for the pass. Thought about the quick trigger, didn't pull. Stojic now one-on-one with Sviteris. Sviteris, one of the rotational bigs, the 6'7" freshman out of Downers Grove South. And Gaston now up to 6 points of his own, 3-point lead for North Central. Last time it was a 3-point lead, a three-pointer tied it up.
Gaston likes playing against Carthage. His season high last year was 22 points against the Firebirds.
Foul against A.J. Johnson, falling away. And he'll have a chance for the old-fashioned three to tie things up. Johnson up to 10 points already.
What a shot there, just to get that off and off the glass, the touch. Maybe a little English there. And Johnson, A.J. Johnson, as good of a opportunity to get a three-point bucket the old school way, right? The three-point play the old school, and he will complete it.
So just like that, after a 4-0 run, Firebirds right back in it. Carthage defense not allowing much this possession. The drive, the floater with the left hand, bounces it in. So soft off the left hand of Moncrief out of Joliet West High.
Yeah, Moncrief just continually got better his 4 years at North Central, and he's playing his best basketball of his career in his senior season, and so quick and able to get the shot off in the lane.
Johnson has it stolen away on the way up. Moncrief, the spin around left and good. Thorn row for Moncrief. He is smooth driving the lane.
Yeah, Moncrief using his strength there to clear some space. And he is, early on in this game, been able to get in the restricted area quite a few times already. And he does have a soft little floater up there, and that's been an effective part of his game.
So foul that time was going to be called on Sean Malloy, the junior guard out of Lane Tech.
And 7 fouls already for North Central.
Johnson gets the first.
Carthage as a team shoots 75% from the free throw line. And I was going to say, probably one of the best free throw shooting teams in the conference, but looking at North Central, they shoot at 78%. So expect both teams to be able to knock down their free throws tonight.
Firebirds back to within 2. We expected nothing less than a seesaw battle in CCIW action. Under 5 remaining until half. A.J. Williams going to get called for the foul. So right now, North Central at 17 fouls. Just something to be cognizant of. Firebirds more than content going to the free throw line. Officials able to call those. Moncrief again, but misses the point blank shot. And Dawn comes with the rebound. I was surprised the Cardinals didn't pressure a little bit more in that circumstance.
Yeah, Moncrief so quick, and A.J. Johnson, a really good defender.
A.J. Williams, just like before, nails a 3 and brings the Firebirds back on top.
Yeah, A.J. Williams, if he can contribute some points to this Firebirds offense, it just makes him that much more dangerous, because he often takes the most difficult defensive assignment, so anything you get offensively from A.J. Williams, always a bonus.
Huge rebound by Brooks, and the reason I say huge is if things aren't going to heat up offensively, I'm not saying they won't, but again, a little bit of a dry spell, if you can contribute other ways, such as flying in for a defensive board, preventing the influx of offensive rebounds by North Central, that's a key contribution in its own right. Stojic getting backed in. Foul going to be called on Stojic, as trying to go up strong with it was Justin Svitzeris out of Darien, Illinois.
Yeah,
Fun fact,
Nen
I
just
almost
reaching in
moved to
there.
Darien,
Yeah?
and then I didn't. Great town. My parents were deciding to move when I was a kid, and Mom wanted Darien, Dad wanted Burbank. Looked at houses, put in an offer in Darien, got the offer accepted, and then they said, we're going to go to Burbank.
Things could have been so different.
So different. I probably wouldn't have been here right now. Who knows where I would have been in life?
I, on the other hand, have been in Kenosha for quite a while. Been in this gym quite a while, growing up with Coach Steve Jurkovic, taking a lot of shots here in the Tarble. Wasn't called the Tarble back in the day.
So he let you shoot around with him back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Brooks, up and good. You can see him hyped about making that inferno shot from 3. 7 points for Brooks, gritty points.
Yeah, you can see a couple of those go in, the confidence just rise, but really doesn't lose confidence in the first place.
Diaz, high kiss off the glass. Tied back up at 36. Again, if you're the Firebirds, 7 fouls against North Central. Don't be surprised if the long-range shot isn't there, if they try to garner some contact. Johnson is double-teamed. Kicks out for Brooks. Brooks drives in, floats right hand, rims out, no good.
Ryan Johnson did a nice job recognizing the double team and kicked it out, but Riley Brooks couldn't cash in.
And Ethan Helwig, my goodness, the smooth transition from right to left hand regains the lead for the Cardinals.
Helwig's one of those guys that pretty much plays all game, averaging 34 minutes a game, so you don't see number 0 take many breaks, and it's because of plays like that.
So foul going to be called as Ryan Johnson, a little bit frustrated. He had multiple players just slapping at his arms. But with that being said, 8th team foul. Johnson the younger going to the line.
And Ryan Johnson at 72% from the free throw line, so not quite as effective as his older brother, but still a good free throw shooter for the big man.
Rolls around and good. Much needed point to get the Firebirds back within 1. Again, if you're going to be afforded so many opportunities at the free throw line, have to take advantage at the highest clip possible. Second one good as well. I want to know what it was like growing up with the Johnson brothers, where, you know, Papa Johnson was just, you will make free throws.
Yeah,
they're both so efficient.
And how about this? We got Nate Montgomery coming in for Carthage.
Indeed. Montgomery, the junior out of Watertown, Wisconsin. Pass in and a block. Almost a jump ball called. Shot clock winding down. Helwig way fade away. And a foul going to be called. The aggressiveness of North Central starting to bite a little bit, up to 9 team fouls on the last 2 possessions. It's one thing, Eric, if you know you're going to get possession, absolutely. But what's happened of late is they knew they haven't had the advantage to get the rebound or to get the long range, deflection, but have still been as aggressive in such. Shot up and good.
How about Nate Montgomery?
How about it?
A tough box out, and as you mentioned, that ball is those long rebounds tough to grab, and not only is he getting position to get it, but draws the foul and
love it.
Smooth as silk from the line.
Montgomery, his 5th game appearance of the season, is now 3 for 4 from the free throw line. 2-point lead by the Firebirds.
This must be fun to think, the Steve Jurkovic's mind and just all the options he has on the bench, and just coming up with Nate Montgomery. and playing some minutes in the game, and we have not seen him much, as we said, this season, but they're not able to slow down.
The no look to Montgomery, driving in the pump fake, and a travel going to be called. Kind of slid the foot. Had the right idea, had the defender going under the net. So A.J. Johnson comes back in for Arnold. Montgomery stays out on the court. This is a shorter lineup than some may expect.
North Central really likes to rotate their guys, and take a look at their box score. They got a bunch of guys over, a bunch of dudes, sorry, a bunch of guys. That's a little too casual.
Yeah.
As a fourth grade teacher, I use that word a lot. But yeah, they really spread it around, and they're a little run here from Bullock. And their first player in double digits.
Yeah. 5-0 run now for the Cardinals after the Montgomery free throws. Put them in the lead. No Ryan Johnson, no Stojic. Montgomery underneath the pump fake and good. Jarakovic pulling all the strings.
And there AJ recognizing the double team, and you get Nate Montgomery leaking to, they call that kind of that dunker spot, and just finds the open lane and is patient, pump fake, gets it 2 points.
With 5, 4, shot clock winding down, game clock, halftime, floater, no good. And with that, the Firebirds will go into halftime down 1 against the visiting Cardinals of North Central. Eric, before we take our timeout, initial thoughts on that first half. That's been fun.
I mean, yeah, what an offensive game right from the start. Both teams shooting over 50% from the field, so fun to see, offensive game. And North Central really playing to their offensive MO and spreading the ball around. And Carthage is getting a few early points from Griffin Dawn, but they'll expect the Johnson brothers to pick up the scoring load a little bit more.
We'll take a timeout. When we come back, halftime stats, highlights, and more, but we are going to turn it over to the cheer squad and the dance team for some halftime entertainment. Again, A.J. Johnson leading the charge for Carthage, 13 points, and 10 points for Bullock, your offensive leader for the visiting Cardinals in the Battle of the Birds. We'll be back on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. And welcome in to the halftime report. Pep band pepping, dance team dance. Great to see. Let's look at some game stats here for Peter Ferreri and Eric Elger. 43-42 as close can be. Carthage shooting a little bit less from the field, but much better from three. That was an issue they had recently, or in recent games. The rebounds, the big difference in today's game, even though it's only a 1 point difference.
Yeah, offensive rebounds, you can see North Central leading by 6, and that has led to 11 second chance points. Just Carthage only has 2, so that has been a difference so far in the game, and it has been a clean game, just 5 turnovers from the Cardinals. Carthage only 3 turnovers. The game has also been within 4 points all game, so this has been a close matchup, and Carthage, I think, is going to have to really shore up the offensive glass. And as you take a look at some of the second page of stats here, as I said, the 11 second chance points really stands out to me, and it has been a close game, and I don't think this thing's going to, break away either team in the second half.
Again, let's look individually speaking for Carthage. A.J. Johnson leading the charge, 13 points. But if you're a Firebirds fan, you love to see Riley Brooks on the board, 7 points. You may say, what do you mean you're excited to see 7 points from Riley Brooks? Again, right hand taped up, right thumb taped up just a few days ago. Tape is off, points are coming.
Yeah, and Riley Brooks really picked up the rebounding load too, because Ryan Johnson getting into some foul trouble. So for Riley Brooks to pick up 6 rebounds, I mean, that's what he's had to chip in. And if we take a look at his rebounding average on the season, average is just 3 rebounds a game. So he's already doubled his average just in the first half.
On the flip side, as we continue on at the halftime report, for the Cardinals of North Central, Bullock leading the charge, 4 for 7 from the field. Hellwig, a smooth 8 points. Diaz got the first bucket of the day, continuing with 7. And Moncrief with 6. A very diversified approach offensively. You never know where it's going to come. And all the Cardinals, if they're on the court, they can shoot.
Yeah, they're a great shooting team. And someone like James Bullock stepping up for the Cardinals. And Hellwig, one of the sharpshooters in the CCIW. So after he knocked down a couple threes, not as effective. Carthage getting a hand in his face, closing out on a little stronger, and really North Central not taking that many threes this game. 4 for 9, so they've been efficient, but it hasn't been quite as many launch threes as we saw from Carthage last game.
We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, second half action, as you can only find it in the CCIW. North Central 43, Carthage 42. We'll be back with second half action on the Firebird Broadcasting Network.
Being a student athlete at Carthage, you get the best of both worlds, honestly. You get to learn, grow in the classroom, and then also be a part of the sport that you've fallen in love with since you've been playing it. You get the one-on-one support from the teachers, and then you get the help from your teammates as well.
The athletics teams here at Carthage, they're really good. Some of the achievements that we had during this past year, the volleyball team won the national championship 2 times in a row, 2 years in a row. So it was incredible to see it because we are a unit. So it's really nice to have everyone together and cheering for just one thing.
So the athletic facilities at Carthage, they're new and improving each and every year. We have the baseball, softball, and football field that all of our athletes compete on. There is the Tark, which houses the baseball weight room. There's the actual gymnasium itself, so Tarble Arena for our men's, women's basketball, volleyball. And then obviously the swimming pool that is also in the Tark, and upstairs there's the field house. We've added the Nest, which is a recovery room for all of our student athletes. There's massage guns, there's granola bars, there's other food items. So we have a lot of nice things in that room that you can sign up, take it, and it's completely for free. There's so many great opportunities. The athletic staff's super kind, your coaches care about you. There's just so much that goes into being a student athlete that it's an experience I would not take back.
The Aspire program is part of the Aspire Center, and the Aspire Center is our 4-year career and professional development program here at Carthage College. The Aspire program is really different and unique from other colleges and universities' career programs because instead of what the typical experience is of senior year trying to go get a job or an experience after college, we want students to build their experiences starting from day one. So whether that means going and finding an alumni panel that they're going to learn from an alumni about the career industry that they're excited about, or if it means getting an internship or a research experience that's going to build their portfolio, we want the students to develop and learn who they are so they can really leave Carthage with a very good sense of purpose and understanding before they actually leave the college. Every student that comes to Carthage has their own individual career specialist. This is a person who specializes in the industry field that they're going into. For example, we have a career specialist for our arts, communication, and culture students. This is a person who's been working as a graphic designer for the past 20 years, and she's responsible for helping those students get opportunities and experiences along the way.
I landed my first internship as a freshman at Deloitte, which is #1 of the Big 4 accounting firms in the world. Through the Aspire program, I was able to develop skills that helped me in interviews as well as networking with other professionals.
My favorite part of the sports management program so far has just been they're getting us in front of these people who actually work in the professions already.
This is a very project-based program, a very experiential learning-based program where students have a lot of opportunities to engage not only in the classroom but also outside of the classroom.
First semester we met with people from the Wild March.
Second half action, live on the Firebirds Broadcasting Network. Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Ferreri alongside Eric Elger. Second half underway in the Battle of the Birds. Cardinals 1-point lead over Carthage, floating up with the right hand. No good. Brooks coming away with the rebound, and we appreciate you being with us this Wednesday evening in Kenosha.
That looked like a set play right out of the timeout, the halftime, and got the look they needed, just couldn't capitalize close to the basket.
Brooks, the fadeaway, left baseline, couldn't find it. Johnson tries for the offensive board, swats at it, hits the ground, nothing there. Long range three, Hellwig, he fires it fast, couldn't find it. Fast break opportunity, the fast break opportunity delivers for Griffin Dawn. A little bit of an alley-oop.
How about that? Yeah, I think Griffin would have liked to throw that down, but he can. I mean, he has a vertical is up there with anyone in the Carthage roster. But that long three kind of was what led to the fast break opportunity for the Firebirds.
Foul going to be called against Griffin Dawn, pushing off a little bit against Hellwig. And you got to give credit where credit is due. Credit to Hellwig. He's so physical and a quick physical attribute that, you know, you may say to yourself, okay, maybe he's not that intimidating, but man, when he really gets that head of steam going, very good shooter for the Cardinals. Comes through there, layup with the right hand, and again, beautiful play because Dawn was just called for a foul against Hellwig 10 seconds prior, so go right back to the well offensively because you know Dawn's going to be that little bit reserved.
Yeah.
Pass in, Johnson, layup and good for the 6'7" Johnson. Firebirds back on top.
I was going to say, as a tough matchup for Griffin Dawn against Ethan Hellwig. Hellwig 225 to just Griffin Dawn 175, so a 50-pound advantage there.
Drive-in layup with the left hand and good by Swierczek. Brooks kicks out for Dawn. Dawn sifting through the sea of Cardinal red. A.J. Johnson looks for the turnaround. Griffin Dawn is open for three. Can he find it? Yes, he can! Trifecta! He set fire to the rain. Griffin Dawn, 11 points. Helwig tries to answer back. Thought there was a little bit of contact by Swierczek, wasn't called. And so possession will stay once again with the Cardinals. And see, that's what, if the Firebirds end up losing in this contest, I'm sure that Coach Jerichow is going to talk about that. The second chance points, whether it's Carthage not able to come away with the rebound, ooh, a little bit of a swipe away, nothing there. Kick back out, the drive, right hand to his left hand, and one. Huge play by number 20, Tyler Swierczek, out of Palatine.
An aggressive take to the basket, and Griffin Dawn now 2 quick fouls here in the second half. Doesn't look like Coach Jurkovic turned to the bench yet.
Shot up and good. Lead for North Central, back to 1. I feel it's not even worth it half the time saying what the score is because it's just going to be back and forth to the waning seconds of this game at this point. No team has taken more than a 3-point lead. Johnson, the drive, the fadeaway, too soft off the front of the iron. High layup with the left hand. Lead back to 3 for the Cardinals.
Terrence Moncrief, he gets a little head of steam. He is so twitchy and just change direction quick, and then that's over and over. We've seen him with the soft touch when he gets in the lane, and they're just able to take advantage.
Brooks drives baseline with the right hand. Carthage calls a timeout back to within 1. Brooks up to 9. So right now, looking at some of the numbers, North Central, and I think it bears mentioning, both teams shooting over 500 so far. Carthage 6 for 9 from three-point land. I mean, it's truly something to behold with how efficient both these teams are shooting. But again, bench points for North Central, 20-6. Offensive rebounds, truly the key. 8-1 the differential. Carthage is going to have to figure out something underneath, because what if you talk about sustainability, Eric, what is more sustainable? Shooting 66% or out-rebounding? Well, the physicality and out-rebounding is more sustainable than shooting at such a high percentage. If that percentage starts to drop, it's going to be an even bigger deficit for Carthage. They got to figure something else to limit that second chance.
I mean, you take a look at just the shot attempts too. North Central has 9 more attempts, so even though Carthage is shooting 56%, and as you said, they've knocked down 6 threes, just by getting more volume, the Cardinals have been able to maintain their lead here. And as you pointed out, those offensive rebounds continuing to be a problem. And North Central, they got to kind of licking their chops anytime a ball is missed on the offensive end, because they are hunting it down and getting those hustle offensive rebounds. And Coach Jurkovic's going to find a way to slow them down. What can they do to get some more bodies on North Central as they crash?
Back underway after the full timeout called by head coach Steve Jurkovic. He is a lifelong Firebird player, then coach. One of the best to ever lace him up in the CCIW. Diaz thought about the shot, couldn't find it. The pump fake by Moncrief. Helwig couldn't find it. Another offensive rebound.
And those are tough when you have such a good defensive possession and they just get it again. But how about that? Ryan Johnson staying straight up, forcing the mistake from James Bullock. So there, the offensive rebound doesn't burn them there, but yeah, just if they continue to have that advantage, Carthage, even though it's so sound defensively, it's hard to have 2 stops per possession.
Carthage down by 1. Shot's not going to count, but first foul against North Central in this second half of action. 4 minutes exactly in. And that's going to be the second foul called. Nice play underneath, and a rare point-blank miss by Ryan Johnson. He kind of shakes his head. He knew he should have had it.
Yeah, that was a great look out of the inbounds, and it's rare when you get such an opportunity like that and just rolls out.
Hellwood getting contact against Dawn, goes up and is fouled on the way up. Any time now that Hellwig sees he's matched up on Dawn, he's just going to town. Jarakovic throws his head back in disbelief.
I mean, if you're Griffin Dawn, you're kind of like, what can I do here?
Yeah.
He's really just, not that he's pushing off, but just that shoulder just into the chest of
Yeah.
Griffin Dawn and just drives forward. And I mentioned, we really don't talk about the weight difference in basketball a lot, but giving up 50 pounds on the graduate senior, the grad
Yeah.
student of Ethan Hellwig, and just seems like he's been in the weight room his whole career because
Yeah.
he is bulk.
Yeah. Yeah, he's that freight train coming down the tracks, and you make that contact and it looks the wrong way, and foul going to be called on A.J. Johnson. As head coach Kamick just kind of put his hand on his head because, again, what are you going to do on that side of things? A.J. Johnson, the best free throw shooter for the Firebirds. 900 shooter up good. Opportunity for the Firebirds to tie things up. Checking in now is number 12, Tyler DeSilvio, out of Sleepy Hollow, Illinois.
I saw that on the roster. Gotta love that town name. Watch out for Ichabod Crane.
There he is. I mean, Ichabod was okay.
Oh,
He'll just,
right.
You know, he'll just go and eat all your food, and, you know, you like Ichabod because he's a teacher. That's what it is.
Yeah, I guess it was the headless horseman was the issue.
But I guess you could look out for Ichabod. I mean, you know. Long range three for Sigel. There's not a three-pointer he doesn't like, tipped up. And that's the other thing is not only is Carthage having challenges getting the defensive rebounds, but also getting their own offensive rebounds. So just like that, Sigel called for the foul after he recently subs in. So Firebirds down by 2, and a chance for Diaz to extend that 2-point lead.
Yeah, Colton had his feet locked in there trying to pick up the charge a little late, and credit to Alejandro Diaz, able to shift his body and move around Sigel to draw the foul and knocks them both down. And it seems so far A.J. Johnson really have done a nice job of attacking, and there's no reason to see A.J. stop being so aggressive because he's drawn fouls, he has gotten his teammates open looks.
That is the third foul on Alejandro Diaz, so one of the best shooters now. Another foul called underneath. They are pushing the Firebirds physically around, and that is another foul on Diaz. That is 2 fouls in the last 2 seconds. And he's at his 4th foul.
I kind of like how he was looking around like he was going to stay defensively, but he probably knew that sub was coming in for him.
Johnson, hand in his face. Short rebound.
And that's something I think just comes with experience. Just being a freshman, you got to know when to pick your battles, as we say, and just a couple of fouls, I think, unnecessary. And because he made them, now he's got to take a seat on the bench.
Moncrief looking for that one-on-one against Sigel. Drives in left hand, rims out, gets his own offensive rebound. Carthage thought they had it, and Moncrief stepped back in and elevated above. What a turn of events. Again, it's something we've mentioned before, but the fortunes have not changed for the Firebirds with rebounding. So Carthage at 5 team fouls now. North Central at 4. The turnaround, the fadeaway, the roll, no good. Johnson was coming away with the rebound and a foul that time called on Svirchek.
Carthage really bailed out there and called the foul, and that's easily sometimes refs just kind of let those things go because it didn't seem like there was a ton of contact, but the ref on top of it making the call, getting Carthage the ball after it, and almost another second
Driving
chance
in,
point.
pulling back up, and Johnson delivers. Birds within a possession.
There he was able to cash in after missing a bunny earlier. You expect him to knock those down, and there he is, a tough basket, good drive.
Nice play defensively by Colton Sigel, getting the swipe on Drew Gaston before Gaston had a chance to go up with it. He swiped it down, rolled off of the leg. Good call by the officials. Firebirds, opportunity to tie.
Carthage bench loved that effort from Sigel because that's 3 possessions in a row that they've really targeted Colton Sigel, and he has come out on top all 3 attempts.
Ryan Johnson will get fouled.
And that's got to feel good if you're Colton, knowing that the team is going right at you and you're holding your own and doing your defensive duties.
DeSilvio called with a foul. DeSilvio called with a foul. Stop me if you heard me. That is 2 out of the last 4 possessions for the Cardinals where they have fouled. The same player has 2 fouls in 2 seconds. Folks, 13-16 left in the game, and Ryan Johnson is at the line. Up and good.
It would be interesting. I don't think we have the statisticians on this, but just it'd be interesting to see the number of fouls Ryan Johnson draws. Just seems like any attempt that he has, he's getting taken slaps and he's getting beat up down there, but he never lets it get to him because he knocks them both down anyway.
Well, again, it's a fairly unique lineup for the Cardinals in right now. Don't forget, Ryan Johnson was in foul trouble himself in the opening half, so you had to have some unique rotations for the Cardinals. And an offensive foul called against the Cardinals, and head coach Kamick not happy about it in the slightest. Helwig called with the foul. That is 8 team fouls for North Central. 4, make that 5 in the last 90 seconds. The pass in for Johnson, underneath, the turnaround. Carthage takes the 2-point lead.
Nice entry pass there by Riley Brooks. And Johnson going to work under the hoop.
Now let's see what type of defense the Firebirds can have. Can Carthage and their hot shooting continue? Cardinals, foul going to be called on the ground. Let's see if it's on Ryan Johnson. Actually, they're going to call that one on A.J. Williams. So 6th team foul for Carthage. So that's something where the fouls have now been on the advantage for the Firebirds, but they're 1 away from foul number 7 in their own right.
And after it felt like a free-flowing first half, this has been a little more stop and start with all these foul calls.
Svateris high off the backboard, and good. So Svateris averaging just about 2 points a game, helps out where he can. Ryan Johnson, bang! 14 points for the big man. Reigning CCIW Player of the Week. And the Cardinals are about to have James Bullock check back into the game who had a stellar opening half. Helwig wants the 3, can't find it. Coming away is Brooks with the board. Firebirds are flying in now, crashing the boards each and every possession.
And there, Riley Brooks again, not someone who's known for his rebounding ability, with 8 on the game already. And that one was a contested board that Firebirds needed.
A.J. Williams, he's open for 3. A.J. Williams burning up for the Birds. 5-point lead for Carthage, the biggest lead for Carthage this evening. And they're starting to take a hold of this contest ever so slightly. Eric, ever since those two possessions where it was fouls in less than 2 seconds, you just felt, even though it's only 5 points, you felt that momentum start to shift with Carthage.
Yeah, and there in that last possession, you could tell all eyes on Ryan Johnson for North Central, and that leaves A.J. Williams alone in the corner, and someone who has really stepped up this game and has contributed now. A.J. Williams at 3 of 3 from the three-point line, 9 points, so he's someone that Carthage, and he gets his looks. If he can cash them in, it is all the better for the Firebirds. And Ryan Johnson, again, something that is so impressive from a player like him is just how he can see the double team coming, how he can sense the pressure, and he's able to turn and find the teammates that are open. And got to be fun to play with both Johnson brothers, but Ryan really dishing it out as well.
64-59. Cardinals not on the run they would like. It's a 5-0 run for Carthage. The Cardinals 1 for 4 out of their last 4. Almost swiped away at the last minute. The turnaround, almost a shuffle of the feet. Bullock. Clutch shot for Bullock. I mentioned when he was coming in, he had a stellar first half, helping put a stop to that little run by the Firebirds. Driving in, up strong with the left hand, A.J. Johnson. Sigel drives in, a chance for the layup. Good. Colton Sigel. Clutch off the bench.
Nice take there, a little pump fake and able to get it to the bucket. Something he's not always known for. He loves shooting those outside shots, but there, a nice move.
Picking up the dribble, stolen away. Sigel, another steal. A.J. Johnson, left-hand layup. A phenomenal one. 7-point lead for Carthage. 10 minutes remaining in the game.
Sigel's just done about everything on the defensive end. He's taken a offensive a moving screen there. He pokes the ball away. He's been doing his best, I would say his best defensive performance of the season, and Coach Jurkovic leaving him in there. Gotta like what he sees.
Pulling up for the short two. Brooks sailing in. What an impact. We mentioned it earlier in the game. What an impact Brooks has had in the rebound category this evening.
9 and 9 on the night, so just a point and a rebound away from a double-double.
Woo! A.J. Johnson, 10-point lead for the Firebirds, the biggest lead for either team this evening.
And that fist pump from A.J. Johnson was about the most emotion I've seen out of him in his career, so even he's feeling a little extra spicy.
Answering back to quiet the crowd is DeSilvio. DeSilvio, averaging 5 points a game, has reached that mark with that 3. And that's the Cardinals' way of answering back. Johnson fouled on the way up. Terrence Moncrief with contact.
Nice job by A.J. there to recollect, almost lost the ball and picks it up, draws the foul.
What a challenge so far for both teams. You know, what's funny is when I got here this evening, as A.J. Johnson, the 900% shooter, makes another. When I got here this evening, you're like, hey, remember when we called that game last year? And then all of a sudden it all flooded back as to how, you know, every CCIW game is tough. But my goodness, it's that extra step that both these teams take when they play each other.
And I'm not saying this out loud in fear of jinxing somebody, so this is going to be, you know, this is me whispering it, but A.J. Johnson has not missed a free throw in the last 3 games, including tonight. Perfect from the line last game, perfect from the line 2 games ago, perfect from the line tonight.
Bullock pushing off, blocked by Johnson. The officials this evening, Eric Ellig, Johnny Garcia, Rick O'Neill, have their work cut out for them. They've done a stellar job. Johnson backing in, loses possession. Hellwig, again, even though Hellwig has the height disadvantage and there's not a three-pointer he doesn't like, In the game now, number 23, Sean Malloy. The bounce pack, Sigel, 3. Woo! He set fire to the rain. 76 to 64. Everything's coming up. Firebirds. Wow. Steve Jarakovic smiling from ear to ear and sea to shining sea. It's a 5-0 run. Carthage has made 8 out of their last 9 shots, including 3 for 4 from 3.
I mean, you can feel it in the gym right now. It's like every shot that's going up, the confidence from the bench, all the players, the fans in the crowd, you know what's going in, and it doesn't seem like Carthage is slowing down. And it has been, wow, what a fun second half here in Carthage, really lighting it up. And you can see shooting well over 50%. We're almost at 60% territory from the field, and yeah, that's getting it done. And even though the offensive rebounds have skewed towards North Central, one way to kind of alleviate the rebounding difference is just to hit fire from the offensive end, and there's really been no answer here from North Central here in the last 5 minutes. And there you can see too, I think another stat that stands out, 16 assists to 5 turnovers, and anytime you can see those 16 assists, you know that's from ball movement. We've talked about Ryan Johnson drawing double teams, kicking it out to the open teammate, and boy, tonight the open teammates have really made it count.
One thing we spoke about coming out of halftime, one thing would have to give, the rebound differential or the shooting. Neither have, but that's favored Carthage. Like, okay, we're going to keep shooting, 65% from 3 and 60 from the field.
Yeah, I can't remember a shooting night like this from Carthage in a while.
No. Griffin Dawn with the turnaround, and everything's falling for Carthage.
Griffin Dawn, again, it's like he just keeps finding that spot on the floor, and soft touch. And a nice 2 points for Griffin Dawn.
Driving in, looking with the right hand, a layup. And again, it's not as if the points have dried up as Malloy makes that shot for the Cardinals, in the sense that they're not shooting less. It's those fouls really put Carthage at an advantage, and Carthage just hasn't missed.
It is insane right now. It's cold outside, but boy, is it hot at Tarble. And Riley Brooks, that was way downtown.
Riley, Steph Curry Brooks with that shot. So a foul going to be called against Brooks. And they're saying it's on the shot. Oh, actually it's on Sigel. I thought it was on Brooks, so.
I think Coach Jurkovic is what his argument is there is Sigel, when you saw the end of that play, was almost, on the other side of the three-point line. So Coach Jurkovic saying, how could he foul if he's standing all the way out there? But they had a Sigel just reaching in there on the drive to the basket. And how about Sean Malloy doing his part here to be aggressive, got a tough drive, last possession in there, drawing the foul.
Malloy averaging 7 points a game. That one up and good, so that will be point number 4 for Malloy. Now, if you are Carthage, there is a lot of game time left, so you are shooting lights out right now, but you can't rest on those laurels, because the Cardinals, they'll continue shooting well in their own right and get right back in. Here are the Firebirds. Maybe draw another foul. Dawn turnaround jumper, or you just keep shooting lights out. Always an option.
How about that 15 for Dawn? And I swear almost all of them were from about that spot on the floor. And there, Swierczek and the Cardinals not going away. 3 straight possessions that they've been able to get 2 points. So credit to them, because this feels like the way Carthage is shooting, they could really run the Cardinals out of the gym.
There are not many times in my life where I am nearly left speechless, but the shooting for Carthage is ungodly right now. Nice turnaround, but the miss had the look. 16-point lead for the Firebirds. They are 14 away from the 100 mark. Is there a giveaway for 100? I know if the visiting team misses 2 free throws in a row, you get free cheese curds from Culver's. I'm just wondering if you get something if they hit 100 points. Sigel almost sent this crowd in a frenzy if he would have made that.
How dare he miss a shot? What is going on? But wow, just like we said, every shot that's gone up, and even that from Sigel, from our vantage point, that looked like that thing was going to get buried at the bottom of the net as well. But here's North Central hanging around, drawing a foul. Another thing you think about, I mean, it took 3 overtimes for Illinois Wesleyan to put up 99 against North Central, and only 13 points away from that in regulation here tonight.
Well, I don't think it's often you're going to have a team shooting 61% from the field, but then 65% from 3.
Oh.
And it's not like you're, 2 for 3 getting that percentage. You are 11 for 17, including 8 for your last 9, 5 from your last 6 from 3. Sigel, 3 out of his last 4 from 3. He only missed that last one.
Yeah, you think of just where they were shooting against Milliken and where they're at tonight. Whatever Coach Jurakovic did in between then and now, if it's some shooting drills or whatever they had going, I would continue with the same practice plan, because boy, have the boys come out tonight. And we talked about one of the bullet points on the whiteboard, shoot with confidence. Everyone in the lineup tonight shooting with confidence, and it is just spread throughout the lineup.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I would say off of that, we mentioned in the pregame show, this Carthage team finds ways to win. Last game, it took 3 players to have career-level offensive-type scoring to have that gritty, hard-fought win. This one, okay, well, we just have to shoot the lights out because we're not winning the rebound battle. And we want to remind everybody, stick around the post-game show with Coach Steve Jurakovic immediately following the broadcast. And why do I say that is I'm sure we'll bring that up to him. If you want to win the CCIW, you have to find those different ways to win, and they're doing it tonight.
Yeah, it seems like Coach Jurakovic has found the secret formula here against the North Central defense, and where the first half it seemed a little tougher coming by some possessions, but this second half, the lane has been open. They've been taking it to the basket. They've been knocking down threes, and it's just been a all-encompassing offensive output here from the Firebirds. And with the 14-point lead, which it doesn't even feel like, the game feels closer than the 14 points you see at Carthage up right now, but with that lead, they can spend a little more time, be patient, and just continue to have the clock tick down.
And a foul called, that time against number 11, Trey Davis, the sophomore out of Marion Catholic, who has started to get some minutes in this contest. And folks, that's team foul number 10. So Brooks at the line. And this is exactly where the Firebirds want to be. That's what you and I spoke about earlier is, it was potentially a circumstance where Carthage was going to need to get to the foul line to come back in this one, because it was back and forth, but more times it was forth for the Cardinals and back for Carthage. Well, that's flipped, since that the rarest of rare foul situations. We're going to have to ask our statistician, Justin, last time there was 4 fouls in 2 seconds each for 2 players in 60 seconds. I mean, it was unbelievable. Driving in the pump fake, nothing there. In the game now is Jaden James, the guard out of New Braunfels, Texas.
And there, Carthage securing the board, not giving up any second chance opportunities there. So we talked about North Central being at 10 offensive rebounds. It felt like a long time ago. Carthage has not given one up, seems like, in the last 10 or so minutes.
Johnson flicks it over to Don with 4, with 3, with 2. Don, layup and 1. Sliding their way to the free throw line. What an evening for the Birds. They are plowing through every type of physicality that North Central is bringing, and it's successful. Wow.
It just seems so fun to be in gray on offense right now, and Griffin Dawn again. The quickness and strength and ability to kind of shift his body, get that right hand up off the glass, and completes a three-point play. And Carthage now 17, now 18 for 18 from the free throw line. Our 100% shooting percentage barely fits on our scoreboard. They don't expect 100% up there very often.
Rebound. Hellwig thought he got fouled. Nothing called. Carthage up by 19. Another 5-0 run for Carthage. They're 9 out of their last 10. What's happened as well is the Cardinals are now 1 for their last 7 from 3. The pass in. Foul, offensive foul going to be called.
Yeah, just got a little extension of the arm there. It wasn't much, but it seemed like, because I think it was Swierczek was in the air, just that nudge kind of, Swierczek is pushed a little and enough to draw the foul. And if that call wasn't made, that was going to be 2 more points for sure, because there is nobody else going to stop Ryan Johnson there.
Layup with the left hand. That one's and rolls around, and good. Jaden James, the freshman. James averaging 17 minutes a game, his 5th appearance. Williams with a bounce pass, stolen away by Hellwig. And this is a situation where the Cardinals could heat up. Tipped up by Dawn. Throwing it into Williams. What a hustle play. Who else? Griffin Dawn.
Yeah, that man doesn't run out of energy, but Ryan,
Another.
A.J. Johnson.
Stolen away again. Trying to get it ahead. Brooks has Dawn on the left side.
Yeah, just kind of an uncharacteristic turnover there by A.J. Johnson, but they're able to bail him out and get the ball back. And North Central turned into a few freshmen here. You got both Jaden James and Bryce Smith to go along with number 30, Alejandro Diaz. So Coach Kamek kind of turned into the young guns here as the game's starting to slip away here in the second half.
Williams good. 10 points for Williams. 14 points for Ryan Johnson. 14 points for Brooks. 22 for A.J. Johnson. And how about that? 18 for Griffin Dawn. I mean, just 7 points away from 100 is Carthage. They have been an offensive machine in this second half. Subbing into the game now, 24, Tyler Cern, excuse me. The bounce pass in. Nice pass, finding Bullock. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, though, benches are going to clear. Line change. I think once Coach Jarakovic saw that the Cardinals were going to more or less let some of those rotational players play out, both teams doing the same. I have to admit, I said it coming out of halftime, Carthage was trailing by 1, starting half number 2. I thought this was going to be a 1-point end of the game basket, but the Firebird offense said, not so fast. We are going to shoot lights out. You know, that's another thing we need our statistician to come up with is the, you know, unbelievable shooting percentage. And has there been a game this season where Carthage has shot 62% from the field? I can't imagine.
I mean, that's a crazy thing to think about, too, is 62% is sizzling, and then you see that 65% from 3, so they got further away and made even more.
All right, Sivan Oroyan is in the game, as well as number 32, Cam McIntyre. Bryce Smith from Antioch and Carmel Catholic in the contest. As for Carthage, Patrick Lorick, the junior out of Downers Grove. Number 34, Andy Nash out of Bennett Academy. Number 30, Quentin Villa out of Frankfurt. Left-hand layup and good. Also in number 25, KJ Williams. Stolen away by the Cardinals. Bounce pass in, 30 seconds remain. Layup, no good. Mason Miller in for the Firebirds. And that's going to be it. Coach Jarakovic waves him off. What a battle. What a battle.
I mean, yeah, just the way that they just caught fire in the second half of the second half, and man, they just took it to them, and just North Central, just no answers. I mean, what can you do? What can you do?
They started the handshake line with time on the clock. Rare you see that, but when the final is 93-78, wow. That's a fun one, folks. If you're a Firebirds fan, if you're North Central, that is 2 very challenging losses in a row. Eric, thoughts before we take a timeout? Let's Coach Jarakovic join us up here in the booth.
I mean, what a shooting performance. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out if you can shoot over 60% from the field, you're probably going to win the game more often than not. And Carthage also started to shore up the offensive rebounds, and that really cut a lane for North Central to try to get back in this game, and it really just came down to Carthage couldn't miss, North Central really couldn't hit it, and good night to the Cardinals as they just got to be leaving, shaking their heads at just what they saw there.
Well, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Coach Jarakovic joining us in the booth. 93-78 year final on the Firebird Broadcasting Network. Don't go anywhere. Coach's Show coming up shortly. Joining us now on the post-game show. Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Ferreri alongside Eric Elger, and I'm sure he willed them on to have one of the highest shooting percentages in Carthage history. Head coach Steve Jerichovic. Steve, halftime, you're down by 1. Next thing you know, second half, I mean, it's a 9 out of 10 in a row from shooting. It just was second to none. And what I really appreciate about what we've seen is you find different ways to win.
That was a fun one. It was, and we needed it. We talked on Saturday about we've been in that shooting slump a little bit, 7 of 30, 9 of 30 from 3. And I think I told the guys going in, let's get a 12 for 24, 25 there. But you know what? I'll settle for 11 for 17. And, things help when the ball goes in the basket. But guys made good reads. Guys made really good decisions. I thought offensively in the second half, we attacked where we wanted to a little bit better. And, a little interesting start with everything for the game, a little bit of a delay going in. But guys stayed focused. And I thought defensively in the second half, stayed a little bit truer to ourselves on that end, which allowed us to get those stops, to get into our early offense when we're pretty effective that way.
Yeah, I just got to ask you, was there something you did between last game and this game in practice? Was it just getting more shots up? Was it technique? Or is it just, hey, these guys are going to make them eventually?
If I had that answer, we'd never lose. But no, we preached last time too. Like, if you're open, shoot the ball with confidence, please. And we got a lot of talented players. We want them to go out there and make the correct decisions. Let them read and react. Let them play within our offensive principles. And when the ball falls in like that too, it's fun to watch. It really is fun to be a part of. We do have a lot of different actions. We can attack you in a lot of different ways. I thought Ryan Johnson really led that run in that second half to get us some easy baskets around the paint. The guys found him well. And then, we talked about rebounding the basketball. They kicked our butt in the first half, getting to the offensive boards. And Riley Brooks finished with 11 rebounds today, a career high. So I was super proud of him for that.
Yeah, I was going to mention that after it seemed like North Central was able to get those 10 offensive rebounds early. He had just 1 offensive rebound in comparison. And it seemed like as the game went on, they really shored that up. And guys like Riley Brooks and the rest of the crew really crashed the boards. And were there some adjustments on the rebounding end that you made, or it just came down to just being more physical?
I think on the board it says who wants it more. Who's going to be the more physical team? The tougher team is going to win this game. Every time you play a team like North Central, that's going to be the outcome. And a lot of the times they're going to end up on top because they're physical, they're in the right spots, they're very correct. And they're a talented group. They got some really, really good young guys with some very experienced players that we're ready for Hellwigs to be finished, I think, in the league after about 7-8 years of really good basketball. So they have a really nice mix of players there. And, I thought when we hit those shots late to extend, obviously helped us out and helped us get those stops in the defensive end.
Talk to us through a little bit, though. When you had Ryan Johnson have a little bit of foul trouble early on, Nemi comes into the game. We've spoken a lot about Nemi. But then in the second half, Nemi didn't have to play as much, but then Sigel steps up. Whatever player you call on, we even mentioned, I really want to, call out Nate Montgomery. Like, all of a sudden we're staying up here like, wait, that's the same guy? Okay, Montgomery's in the game, draws the foul, gets the offensive points. Any player called upon, they're ready to go, and they're ready to, run through the wall for you.
That's what makes this such a good team. It's such a fun team to be around. You should have seen the bench, the interaction in the locker room after for what Nate did at the end of the first half, because Nate came in as a transfer from Winona State, and it's been one thing, one injury after the other, after the next, and it's been so frustrating to watch for him. It's taken a toll on him. It's taken a toll on us, everybody on the team, because they want him, because he's such a hard-working guy. And he does all the little things that helps you win. And he showed that in a little spurt, and hopefully that gives him some confidence to keep building and building towards this stretch run of conference season. But the other one I want to give a shout-out to as well is Griffin Dawn's been fantastic. And, you can look at the 18 points. He got a different matchup look being chased by a 6'8" guy at Milliken last week. And today he did the same exact things that we worked on the last few days of practice and finished every single one, all while chasing Ethan Hellwig is one of the best players in the conference for 40 minutes.
Yeah. Talk us through now, again, when we look forward, we spoke about it with you a few days ago. It doesn't get easier. Every CCIW team on any night could be the best team in the conference. How do you keep this going, saying, okay, we had the gritty win a few days ago, the physical one, 3 players scoring all but 10 of the points. Today, it was the lights out show in the second half. How do you continue diversification so that way, coming this weekend and next week, it just keeps going in a positive way without losing that focus?
It's the hardest part of this sport being over a long season, over the winter months. These are your dog days of summer baseball type, right?
Yeah.
And it's just trying to be focused every single day. And I thought we did a really good job these last few days. After we finished up talking in the locker room, the big thing was like no letdowns. We got to come in focused. Tomorrow cannot be a wasted day.
Yeah.
And Wheaton's a scary team. They were up 7 against Illinois Wesleyan last week with 2:30 left, 2:40 left. They play zone for 40 minutes, which scares you, which means you got to knock down some shots and get the ball in the middle of the zone. So we got to be ready to go, and their offense is the same as it's been since I've played, which is a while ago now. And you got to be ready to guard on the perimeter and fight through screens.
Yeah.
So, I think we have some mature guys. I think they've been through a lot the last couple of years too, and have started to see this growth. And now, they understand what it takes. Like, this is a game that we went in and we said, this is a must-win for us. If we want to compete at the top end and win a conference championship, you need to protect home court. So we came out today, and for the first time, I think, in January, we had a full 40 minutes. And it may not seem like that in the first half, but I thought it was a more complete game and not the runs we gave up in the Milliken and the Elmhurst and the North Park one, too.
Yeah. Well, Coach, congrats on the huge win. Go get a little bit of rest in a later game than usual, but you sped things up at the end, so congratulations, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Coach. Looking at the game stats now, 93-78. Thank you again to head coach Steve Jarakovic for joining us in the postgame show. The 31 from 50, 11 from 17, and the big one you said, when we this is the third time mentioning it now, what was going to give? Was it going to be the shooting or the rebounds? 28-28. It ended at the same exact rebound number, which for all intents and purposes is a win for Carthage.
Yeah, I think just Carthage, as they got 10 minutes left to go to the game, they really wanted it more. As Coach poses that question to his team, and I think another guy to shout out is something like Colton Sigel, who in the second half, you could see North Central targeting him on the defensive end, and he held his own. He got a steal. He drew an offensive foul. He had a ball he knocked off of someone's knee. So even though they were even trying to attack what they thought was the weak link of the Carthage defense, someone like Colton Sigel said, not so fast.
Yeah. Individually speaking, again, not much more could be said as we look at some continual stats here. Bench points was, all one way for North Central, didn't matter. Individually speaking for Carthage, 22 points for A.J. Dawn, 8 for 10 from the field, 3 boards, 2 assists. I mean, my goodness, a player that played sporadically last year is now a starter and just impactful each and every way.
And something to point out again, there's a little social media post when the Johnson brothers went 20 from the line a couple games ago.
Yeah.
As a team, 20 for 20 from the line, so we got another perfect 20-20 vision on the free throw line. So again, Carthage, if they continue to shoot free throws like that, it really doesn't allow teams to make any comebacks, because if they have to foul, Carthage knocks them both down, and really anyone that stepped to the charity stripe, they made them all. So credit to the team again for shooting hot from no matter where they were on the court.
Looking at the upcoming schedule tomorrow, women's and men's wrestling back-to-back versus Aurora. Next Wednesday, we'll be back here, men's basketball versus Carroll. And then Saturday, the big doubleheader, women's and men's basketball versus Augustana. For your upcoming live schedule, again, North Central will be heading to North Park this Saturday. That is a late one. That's a 7:15 tip-off. Another conference rivalry between those two squads. And then as for your home Firebirds, once again, at Wheaton this Saturday at 7:15 for that tip-off. One more time, looking through some out-of-town scoreboards very quickly. Illinois Wesleyan over Milliken, 77-60. Elmhurst falls at the very end to Carroll, 84-77. And Augustana defeated Wheaton, 75-62. We want to thank you all for being with us this evening. For executive producer Mike Love, producer John Voinovich, as well as director Laura, Maddie, Marissa, Mark, Natasha, Daniel, Jeremy, Ryder, Addison, and Yam. Outstanding crew as always. Thank you. This program has been a presentation of Firebird Broadcast Productions in Carthage College, copyright 2025. Once again, for Eric Elger, I'm Peter Ferreri, your final in Kenosha, 93-78. Have a good rest of your evening, everybody.